course, we opened the show, we spoke about Matthew Perry, who, I mean, a lot of us, especially of a certain age, grew up with from children and loved Friends. He sadly has passed away on Saturday at the age of 54. We're going to go over to Hollywood, actually, because Sam Rubin's going to join us with all the latest. Good morning, Sam.
Rylan and Josie, good morning to you. A melancholy morning here in Hollywood as people are still coping with news that really came as an absolute shock. Chandler Bing, Matthew Perry, passing away, 54 years of age, and the circumstances surrounding his death are also unsettling. Apparently, Matthew Perry in recent years has become, he used to be a tennis champion as a younger man, a bit of a pickleball fanatic, a 2-hour pickleball game back to his home in the Pacific Palisades area here in Southern California. He has a beautiful pool, one of those outdoor infinity pools, and a large hot tub, a jacuzzi. He was in the jacuzzi, and the belief is he may have had a heart attack while in the water, causing him to fall underneath the water, drowning, in effect, in his jacuzzi. He has an assistant who essentially lives on property with him. He had sent the assistant out for an errand. When the assistant came back, he saw Matthew Perry under the water, made his own efforts to get him out of the water, immediately called 911. Police came, an ambulance came, but it was all too late. So that stunning, stunning news, which has literally reverberated all around the world. And among the many things that come to mind, episodes of Friends have never stopped running. The show started in 1994, and 29 years later, these episodes are running not because Matthew Perry passed this weekend, but because there's this near universal popularity about this show, a topicality of sorts. And even though we know the stars, the remaining 5 cast members, Matthew, of course, much older now than they were when they filmed the show, it doesn't seem dated. It seems very, very much alive, very, very much today. And, you know, kids of the 90s and beyond, I think all generations watch the show, and what an enormous, enormous success this show has been.
Absolutely. And I mean, Sam, I was reading an interview actually over the weekend after he'd passed away, and he said, you know, I'm sure when I pass away, a lot of people, they're just going to talk about Chandler, they're just going to talk about Friends, but I'd like to be remembered for the charity that he set up in Malibu, which helped men with addiction. Sam, he did a real lot, didn't he, to try and help others, even through his own struggles.
Yes, you know, and that's the extraordinary thing. And I think, Rylan, in my own thoughts, there are 3 Matthew Perrys. There's the Chandler Bing we all know. There's Matthew Perry, the man, and Matthew Perry, this active, vibrant member of the sober community. We're going to get into more of that in just a moment. But first, a few Chandler reflections. We've cobbled together what some have described some of the best bits from the long-running 234 episodes from Matthew. This from Friends. Take a look. It's the way he tossed off those lines, and sarcasm often is difficult to play. You don't want it to be mean-spirited. It never, ever was with Matthew Perry. Ryland, again, we will talk about this participation in the sober community and all the great work that he did. But conversation here from this morning when on the couch, Matthew Perry talking about the show, talking about work after the show. Here's Matthew.
It was such a great job. We all loved each other so much, and we all had such a wonderful time that subsequent jobs have been harder to do than that one. Yeah. So, yeah, I guess it would be nice to go back and do more because it was just so much fun.
When he went back to do more, that very fabled reunion, I think that was perhaps the not first inkling, but for those who were not paying close attention, you saw the 5 other cast members, certainly older, but great, vibrant, and healthy. That wasn't the case for Matthew Perry, who looked visibly older and definitely as if he had been through it. And when this memoir came out almost a year ago, to the conversation we're having right now, it's an absolutely haunting, unrelenting, unbelievable tale. And he opens the book by suggesting that he really shouldn't be alive. And then he details this extraordinary battle with addiction involving alcohol, involving prescription painkillers. It's the kind of story that nobody could survive. And now, Ryland, as to what you discussed, the reason he wrote the book is I think he felt that he had cheated death, and maybe the promise that he made, if I can survive this, I'm going to help other people. And so, as you mentioned, his own home in Malibu became a sober house. And in this almost weird, self-written obituary, he said he wanted to be remembered not just for making people laugh around the world on Friends, but that if somebody had a problem with drink or with drugs, that he was somebody, having walked the path, who could help them. And he reveled in that. And someone who had avoided the cameras for many, many years, Matthew made a huge press and publicity tour surrounding the book, including a lot of conversations with hundreds, thousands in the audience. And again, revealing all this stuff that he went through and these amazing, incredible difficulties. I think in his final years, Matthew Perry, particularly because of his extraordinary admissions, really helped a lot of people. Really was like, you know what, if this guy can get through it and get through this degree of difficulty, maybe I can get through it too. So I think that's a legacy from Matthew Perry as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And Sam, when are we likely to hear from all his co-stars?
Josie, you know what? We haven't heard from his co-stars, the other 5 remaining original Friends. And I tell you what, I think that's because they're considering their words very, very carefully. And will we hear from the other 5 as a group? Will they each release individual statements? And then you know how that is when you have initially a close professional colleague, but they become part of your family. Yeah. I think it's maybe difficult to say the right thing because they know that the world is sort of waiting to hear from them. Matthew Perry spoke about a colony of penguins and equated the 6 of the cast members, himself included, to this sort of penguin colony, and that when one fell down, and he was really referencing himself, the other 5 got together to hold him up. Yeah. And among the things that Matthew talked about is, again, this very up and down battle with a variety of addictions, that of the 10 seasons of Friends, there's 3 he doesn't really remember. And that if you look at these clips, you can see videos of healthy Matthew Perry and other times where he was not so healthy. So the whole Friends experience, which again has brought joy to so many and continues to do so, was a decidedly up and down experience for Matthew Perry.
Well, Sam, I mean, it's incredibly sad. I mean, 54 is no age. I'm gutted we're not talking on happier circumstances, but I'm sure we'll be speaking soon and we'll be hearing from the rest of those Friends later in the week. But Sam, for now, thank you so much for joining us. We'll speak to you soon.
Thank you. Thank you. I say all you're leaving in life is your experiences and your legacy. What a legacy to leave.
That was so moving. Yeah. Actually, wasn't it? Fascinating.
It really was.
Jennifer Aniston used to say that when they were young, that he was rather sweet on her, but nothing ever happened. But later, as I understand it, she was absolutely...
Very much there for him.
Very much the rock, reaching out and helping him through it. Yeah. And that was so wonderful that his legacy is to have been so heartwarming as an entertainer, and then also to have tried in later life to make a difference. Yeah. So he made us laugh, then he made a difference.
What a man.
I recommend the book. I read it over the summer. It's absolutely fascinating.
Such sad news. Really, really is.
Oh, thank you. Now, coming up next...